Hey guys, it's been a busy week. We had to get a set of stairs out for a customer. This is just one of the handrail sides. It was to the building code, so it had to have this mesh in it and couldn't have a gap greater than 5 inches in diameter anywhere, which was interesting because normally we've only done industrial type handrails, but that's the stair stringers that we fabricated. This is the dog that was on site. It was very cute and very fluffy, but it rained most of the time we were on site trying to put them in, so that's kind of the finished product. That's it, with handrail on both sides. Yeah, so anyway, for this week's video. Hey guys, we're back in the workshop today. Just wanted to show you a project we've been working on. So I've started this off camera. It's going to be a log holder for an arborist friend of mine. So we welded this box section up, ground those flush because these have got to go on it, and then I've inserted some nut certs that he's going to use to drive bolts in through here that'll hold on to the log that'll go through the center. The original plan I'll show, which was to have a flat base on it, but we ended up modifying it using the box section so that if he's got a longer log it can actually reach the whole way down. Anyway, the next piece of this is, these are the legs, and they've got to go basically in underneath there on a 30-degree angle, but he wants this to be able to be relatively transportable, so if they move, if they have to fly with it. So looking at putting a piece of 50 by 50 in like that, and then this tube will slide into it. The only problem is this tube actually measures 38 mil basically, or 39 mil maybe, outside, and this is a 50 by 50 with a 3 mil wall thickness, so that's 44 mil on the inside, so it's actually a little bit sloppy, well, a bit sloppy. So I've got to come up with a bit of a sleeve to get those to work okay, but in the meantime I'll progress with this. So I've cut that on a 30-degree angle using the bandsaw. I've just spent a bit of time trying to true this up and tension up the blade and square the guide base, I guess, to the blade. So that's looking pretty good now. So these cuts are okay because it was a little wandery to start with. But that's our kind of dilemma at the moment. So I'm just trying to work out whether I actually notch that in so it sits down flush, or I kind of leave it the way it is. It looks a bit ordinary at the moment because there's going to be some big gaps, so just going to look at our options for notching. So I'll come up with a few ideas and see what we go with. Okay, so I've decided, I think my best bet's going to be, whoops, wrong way, have it flush like that on the inside, and then it's going to overhang slightly on, well, the inside of this part. But yeah, any notching, there's just not going to be enough room. It'll look kind of weird. So anyway, that's what we're going with. But I thought I would show a quick tip for using like a carpenter's speed square. When you're marking out, so say I want to mark out 30 degrees, I get my section here that says pivot, you line that up, and then basically you rotate this dial until it hits 30 degrees with the material, and then you just re-square everything up. Obviously it's hard doing this with one hand. There we go. And then you grab your Nico, your marker pen, and you mark that across, and then bang, 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 we're marked all around relatively quickly, and I don't need to get because the old way I would do it is use this digital angle finder and get the angle set and muck around, but now I don't need to. So then I just had to cut the remaining three 50 by 50 sections with the 30 degree cut in it. I cut the first one on the bandsaw, the other two I just did with the metal saw. It was a bit more accurate. That's the cut quality off the bandsaw. It's not perfect, but got us out of trouble. Then we moved on. I prepped the material with some Scotch-Brite and acetone, and then started tacking it into place. And this is where the fun started. You can kind of see behind my head the blue light is fluttering quite a bit. I was having an absolute hell of a time trying to get these things to tack. It just would not tack properly. The base metal was just forming super weird. You can see that smoke coming off. It was, yeah, a lot of contaminant in the weld pool and oxidation. It was barely tacking, so very odd. I know I'd used WD-40 on all the cuts and I'd given it a quick wipe with acetone, but I suspect there was still some oil in the metal, so this is me trying to figure out what's going on. Anyway, we'll move on, but needless to say, I had a hell of a time tacking, and even when I got to welding, it was still not running very well at all. Alright, so this is after I welded one side, and you can just see where those tacks are is just awful. It's really horrible. I'm still not exactly sure what caused it, whether it was the WD-40 or I Scotch-Brited both pieces of material and wiped them with acetone, but those tacks were just not going well at all. Yeah, it was really, really, really ordinary. So after that nightmare, I ended up taking all the aluminium upstairs and gave it a good clean with some aluminium cleaner that I had. I don't use this very often because normally just some Scotch-Brite and acetone is sufficient. But yeah, as you saw with those welds, I was having a hell of a time. So took them upstairs, gave them a good clean, dried them with the blowtorch, and now I'm squaring it all up and checking the 45, ready to tack it all in. Basically followed the same process for the remaining three, tacked each side, then ran the welds, then moved on to the next one. The tacks after cleaning it with the aluminium cleaner were definitely better than what I was experiencing before, but they still weren't, like something was still not right, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. I had changed my regulator out with a new reg just prior to doing this, so I'm wondering whether somehow I'm getting some contamination from those lines, or I'm not quite sure, but anyway, I might go back to the old regulator for the next one of these that I have to weld out, just to see if that fixes the problem. But I won't bore you with all of this. Basically the process was getting them in place, running the square to check 45 each way, tacking them each side, then weld out each side and progressively work my way around. So you can see here I went and grabbed my welding respirator. There was still a little bit of aluminium cleaner on the inside of the tube where the nut certs are drilled through. The inside of that RHS is hollow and now open. And when I was heating it up, I could hear it boiling and bubbling inside, and you can't really see it in the video, but I had some pretty good steam vents coming out of each side, and yeah, it being aluminium cleaner, I thought it's probably something that I don't want to be inhaling, so the respirator went on and we continued on for the rest of it. And this is the last weld going in here. As I said, they're still not running, well, they still weren't running well. Certainly not my best looking welds. So yeah, interested to try and figure out what was actually going on. Yeah, whether it's the material, whether it's what I used to grind down those welds, whether it is the regulator being changed over. The gas flow was good, nothing else has changed. So yeah, anyway, that's the end of this one, and I've still got another one of these to make before we can send it off. But another good job out the door, so thanks.